Shalom everyone! Parashat Va'era Tafshin Peivav. Several times throughout the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim, we find that Moshe and Aaron have at least two missions. At the beginning of Parashat Va'era, Hashem says to Moshe, "Say to Bnei Israel, I am the Lord. I will bring you out from under the burdens of Mitzrayim. I will deliver you from their bondage, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great judgments. And I will take you to me as my people, and I will be your God. And afterward, go speak to Paro, and he shall send Bnei Israel out of his land." One mission is to Bnei Israel, and one mission is to Paro. There are similar elements in both missions, and of course there are also significant differences between them. Part of the mission of Moshe and Aaron is to bring Bnei Israel to accept upon themselves the yoke of Hashem. But at the core of this mission stands the pasuk, "And I will take you to be my people." There is here both, I will redeem you with my powerful arm and with great judgment, and also I will take you to be my people and I will be your God. We find here both Hashem's kingship over them and a covenant between Hashem and Am Yisrael. And what about the mission to Paro? Even with respect to Paro, there's an aspect in which the mission of Moshe and Aaron is that Mitzrayim shall know that Hashem is the Lord. But the primary mission is to bring Bnei Israel out of Mitzrayim. From the standpoint of Hashem's ability to take Bnei Israel out of Mitzrayim, there are many ways for Hashem to do so. Yet even here, Hashem acts in a way that is not only that He actually takes Bnei Israel out of Mitzrayim, but also that something happens to Mitzrayim, that the Egyptians undergo a process, and Mitzrayim shall know that Hashem is the Lord. Therefore, Hashem does not take them out of Mitzrayim with a single blow. There is a process, there is a dialogue between Moshe and Aaron and Paro, until in the next parasha, Parashat Bo, Paro himself calls Moshe and Aaron and says to them, not only rise up, go out from among my people, but also go serve the Lord as you have said. At the same time, it is clear that there is an essential difference between the mission of Moshe and Aaron to Paro and the mission to Bnei Israel. Toward Paro, the primary goal is to bring Bnei Israel out of Mitzrayim, and through that to fulfill, "And Mitzrayim shall know that I am the Lord." But toward Bnei Israel, the mission is far deeper and more spiritual. With respect to Bnei Israel, this is the essence of the covenant, "And I will take you to be my people, and I will be your God." Therefore, the two missions of Moshe and Aaron are carried out in two different ways. Toward Paro and Mitzrayim, the main point is impressing upon Paro and the Egyptians the power of Hashem that is revealed in Mitzrayim, until the Egyptians say, "Rise up, go out, and go serve the Lord as you have said." In contrast, toward Bnei Israel, the revelation of Hashem's power does not bring them deeply enough into the covenant with Hashem. Even after Yetziat Mitzrayim, there is still a need for a splitting of the sea, about which it is said, "And Bnei Israel feared Hashem, and they believed in Hashem and in Moshe his servant." And even after the splitting of the sea, there is still a need for the revelation at Har Sinai, deepening the covenant between Hashem and Am Yisrael through the profound content of the Torah, through the 10 Commandments. And even then, as we all know, it was not sufficient, because the process was not deep enough. It required another 40 years in the wilderness and many more hundreds and thousands of years until this very day of deepening and engraving the covenant between Hashem and Am Yisrael deeper and deeper and deeper into the essence of the soul of every one of Bnei Israel. As we know, it is easier to take Bnei Israel out of Mitzrayim, and this was done at a specific time in history, than it is to take Mitzrayim out of Bnei Israel. This is an ongoing process that continues through the generations. It is not a simple or easy matter to bring even one Jew to take upon himself the yoke of the covenant with Hashem, and certainly not easy or simple to bring all of Bnei Israel to accept this yoke. But even when this is done, it is not enough. The mission of all generations, continuing the mission of Moshe and Aaron, is to reach a point where this covenant becomes something deeply embedded within the souls of Bnei Israel, so that we all accept the yoke of the kingdom of Hashem out of freedom and love, and not only because of the power of Hashem. That very same principle applies to us as parents towards our children. And the very same principle applies to us as teachers in relation to our students. We are obligated to create a framework in which we succeed in revealing the power of Hashem to our children and students, but that is not enough. we also have a responsibility to make every effort required to reach their hearts in a deep way so that they will accept the yoke of Hashem out of freedom and love. And if we look at the broader circle of Am Yisrael, the very same principle applies here as well. It is not enough to create authoritative frameworks of Torah, of accepting the yoke of Hashem. At times, such frameworks are important and beneficial. At other times, they may dafka push people away rather than draw them closer. This is a complex issue. But one way or another, it is not enough. If we do not succeed in broadly awakening within Am Yisrael a deep process that leads to accepting the yoke of Hashem out of freedom and love, then we have not yet fulfilled the mission that we continue after Moshe and Aaron. And in conclusion, the very same principle applies to the world at large. On the one hand, we are charged with preserving for the entire world the memory of Yetziat Mitzrayim, to recount the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim, to celebrate Pesach, to keep the halachot of Pesach, and Mitzrayim and the whole world shall know that Hashem is the Lord. But on the other hand, here too, that is not enough. Until the entire world comes and says in the words of the prophet Yeshayahu, "Come, let us go up on the mountain of Hashem to the house of the God of Yaakov. For out of Zion will come the Torah and the word of Hashem from Yerushalayim. And they too will accept the yoke of Hashem out of freedom and love. And then the words of Yeshayahu in the very same prophecy will also be fulfilled. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore." Shabbat Shalom.